shoot on this first. Seems like I get a lot in there. This means sometimes the difference between unhappiness and happiness.
So we talked about well pumps and made in America, yada yada yada. The well pump we're putting in.
So when it comes to well pumps, you wouldn't buy anything made in,
Wouldn't say that.
say, Southeast Asia,
Yeah, there you go. No, definitely would not purchase one. Would not.
but you'd buy American and you'd buy European.
I would. And at this point, because I toured the factory and know what they're doing, I would buy from Mexico, just like your Chevys and your Fords. And
Yeah.
you know, they're moving some plants down there, and at first I was very disappointed, and then I was really disappointed, and then I went down there, and my wife had to help me a little bit. She said, you know, these people get a better life. You know, they're all happy. We walked in there, toured it. The quality control is insane.
Yeah.
They have little cameras over everyone's station. And it doesn't necessarily record it all, but if they do something wrong and that camera catches that motion, stops it right there. And they have to fix it. So it's not necessarily videoing them, it is, but it's the computer is saying,
It's just quality control.
I just need to see this. It needs to look like this before you give it to the next guy.
So a lot of companies have moved down there, like Franklin.
Oh yeah, Franklin and, well, lots of them. Grundfos, all European. They used to be in Denmark. Now they're in Mexico. You know, whatever. It's a great product. They have somebody else does. Give a bare ground for them. It's stupid, but whatever. Like code. No one has ever made me or will ever.
But it's going to make for a better connection point.
It just makes a little bit better connection again.
So when you do your well,
Definitely do it this way.
Yeah, right. If they don't do it, it makes no difference. When you grind that into the threads, the paint's gone.
yeah.
I mean, if you can touch a hot wire to that and not let it trip.
Okay. Where do you want to be in relationship to the...
How far away
I'm
from
going
it?
to swing over like this.
Okay.
It's not too wet. I'm going to swing over like this. And end up dead center in that wellhead.
Okay.
And my outrigger obviously will need to be about this far back.
Gotcha.
And you'll see it. And I'll see it. But when that bearing goes out, down here, it actually takes out the pump.
So Franklin makes that motor.
So what we're getting to here is Franklin Electric supplied 90% of the world's pumps, motors. And one day they thought, you know, everyone's blaming us for every problem we've got. We're really not expanding because no one else is expanding. You know, they don't care. More pump companies come out. We're still kind of stuck at this rate of gain. Let's build our own pumps, get away from a lot of warranties, expand in a few other lines, drives like the one I'm bringing here, HVAC drives and controls, a lot of different aspects, but they really jumped into the water big time, just focused on water. So, of course, a lot of the companies were very disappointed. Here's their favorite motor manufacturer making their own pumps. A lot of them stuck with them for a while, but eventually most of them switched and made their own motors. Went through that headache of learning how to do it. This motor, since it's underwater and submerged, it's not some like Southeast Asia, Brazil cheap pumps. They're filling with oil, right? Well, that works, I guess, maybe. But what they were telling us at the factory, they wouldn't give us any clues of what was what, but they inject this with a special kind of, I don't know, medium of some sort of plastic, basically. All those windings, instead of just being like a regular motor just in air, they fill this case to keep all the pressure from any water getting in there. Seal it, of course, but I mean on the inside, that they were telling us that has to meet minus 40 degrees in the aircraft and up to 100 degrees down a hole.
Wow.
And so it's quite a, they took them a while to, for Franklin Electric to figure that one out. All the other companies eventually will and did, but this company's definitely been top notch in water. They care about wells. They're all about wells, of course. Booster pumps and making me happy.
So just to clarify, Franklin Electric not only makes the motor, but they make the pump.
They do make a pump in. It's not this one.
So we've got.
This here is a pump company, pump specific for years and years and years.
Since 1866,
Gotcha. Okay, that's
hand pumps and windmills.
So we've got a Franklin motor sitting on a
Bolted under a flint and walling.
pump.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say that again. We've got a Franklin motor sitting underneath a Walling
Yeah.
pump.
Yep.
So that you've had to buy the two and bolt them together. Most of the time people would get it, it would already be together.
Not necessarily on this one. It's just that this one happened to be on another motor, and I told him I'd sell it, even though it's a slight upgrade, I'd sell it to him at the same price. It's slightly older.
Gotcha.
It's just been in a box longer. It hasn't been used. Or
Yeah, it's good looking.
they make a great pump. I really, it really frustrates me that. So what happened was United Pipe and Supply was our suppliers for Minden water wells for 30 some years, and no one up and bought that company out when the owner's wife passed away, the last one of the actual owners. No board of directors came in. No other company wanted to buy the company. They just liquidated out, sold all the other companies. Well, one of them jumped on this one and said, "Hey, we're taking over the Flint and Walling line." Oh, sweet. Come over, visited me, shook my hand. Seemed like legit people. They weren't.
They were not.
They tried. They weren't well guys. They were water pipe guys.
Yeah.
They sold pipes like this and sewer stuff, but
So it just they wasn't a good fit for you and your business.
So what would happen is I would order a pump, and I need a pump tomorrow, or whatever. Yeah, they could do that. They were all over that. But what they didn't do was when I said, "Hey, I need a 10 gallon a minute horse and a half, then I need a 3 horse pump, and I need a 1.5 horse pump, and I'd like them, like Friday."
Yeah.
And nothing would happen. And I'd go, "Well, where's my order?" "Well, we're trying to get a big enough order." I finally said, "You know what? You don't care about me enough. You're sending them up H&H freight, but I don't know when they're coming. I don't know when to order." And what would happen was, since I didn't have it, I didn't think I'd ordered it, and I'd be on the phone ordering another one because I thought I forgot or something. I was like, "Man, I gotta have that pump." So all of a sudden here would be 3 half-horse pumps laying there, and I didn't need them. I needed 1, or I needed 2. Finally, I just said, I think it'd be better if we just split ways. So I was nice about it. I said, "I'm not about to burn bridges. You guys are fine folks. There's nothing wrong with you as people." But I said, I just don't really feel like you care about me enough to, I really don't think you even I really don't even think you want me here. And they didn't deny it. They didn't agree with that. I would just, since they were learning pumps, I was nothing but a curse. If I ever had a warranty issue, which were very seldom, they'd go, "Oh, well, I'm used to guys going, 'Hey, send it up. Here's another one. No questions asked." They hand me another one. I wouldn't care if they did ask. I wasn't hiding nothing. It's just they go, "Oh, we need to send this warranty form up." Like, look, I'm in this for real. I'm going to buy 100 pumps a year from you. And to me, that's not small. That's not wild, but it's a pretty good gig going on here for you.
Yeah, at $1,000 a piece.
Yeah, I would think that they should be quite happy with that kind of.
Yeah.
But they weren't. So that's what ultimately. So what happened was the company that I'm going through now. They said, "You know what? We'll take them on." And so they started ordering them in for me, and everything was super sweet. Well, since it wasn't their number 1 lineup, it was their number 2 lineup. same thing would happen. I'd get the pump, but it would be a Franklin electric pump. I was like, well, I ordered Flint Wally. Yeah, well, we didn't have it, and we're just, you know, getting you need a pump, and we know it's a good pump. So that's what kept happening. Finally, like, you know what? Great service. They cover me well.
But I'm not getting what I want.
But I'm not getting the pump I want. But if it's a great pump, why bother with making you guys order a whole nother line in and having you stock them just for me? If the other pumps are great, let's do it. So they say, oh, okay, we'll send you to Mexico, show you the factory. You're happy with it. So that's what I did, and I ended up switching. So I still have these. They're still a top-notch.
100% made, built in America.
Yep, every part of it. That's the little screen to keep some of the rocks out, sand. One thing to remember down a well, you don't want anything so fine that you have to change it.
So this well is at like 340,
right?
So I don't know, how far down do you normally go with not work? You know, when you got sand and they have a screen on there, how far above do you normally set a pump?
So typically the screens are 5 feet long, and then they have maybe like a 3-foot tailpipe. And so as long as I'm not in that, somewhere down there. For one thing, if you get too many fines in that screen and they land in there and they fill that thing up, you ultimately are creating a screen on its own. Sometimes it's not a bad thing to come through all that sand. But sometimes it's just, if I keep it right down there, I just pull up what's coming in. And eventually I move it all out, right?
So where do you think you're going to set the pump then?
You said 300. I'll put it there.
Well,
I brought
just didn't know,
320.
huh?
I brought 320.
Oh, yeah, the variable. Sorry.
No, some.
Okay.
No, some just like I'm old school.
Explain that to me, because I don't see. I mean, if you don't do the variable speed pump, then you have to put in the
Large pressure tank.
Yes. Say that again. It's called the.
Just a large pressure tank, or.
You're right. So with a variable speed, you can go with a smaller pressure tank, and what you don't have to do. What was the other thing we didn't have to do? It was the backflow, or there was something with that you had to add if you went with the standard pump.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of what that was.
There is something else you got to add.
I think it's a protection circuit for pumping the dry
protection?
well.
That's it. Yeah.
Dry protection. It's built into this.
Okay, but if you go with just a standard
You have to put that on.
Right. So if you go with the standard pump, then you have to put in the run dry protection.
Big pressure tank has to be separate when you're running them in not electrically parallel but physically parallel.
Okay.
I need at least 6 inches apart.
Between the well wires
And any other wire.
Then any other wire.
Yep.
Okay.
until it gets to the box.
Yep. They can go like this, a little like this.
Right. Right.
If they're like this,
Yeah, because you're gonna.
there's
you're
a magnetic
gonna
field.
induce.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Induce is the word.
Yep. At least 6 inches.
I would go at least 6 inches.
Okay.
And if you can't, it's not the end of the world.
Okay.
I see it way too much where they just ran with the wires and it's still fine. But
Right.
there are moments
But
when
push
I-
come to shove, if I had to, I could shield it
You could.
and ground it. Okay.
But just be as careful as you can.
Yeah.
As long as I mention it and the electrician knows it.
Right. Okay.
Because sometimes I've done the perfectest job and it'll still backfeed a little bit from who knows what. And I've also
Okay.
pulled off some major capers with the same conduit and everything. It's no problem. So
Okay.
I
This guy's up in Bonner.
Glad to see the cameras working.
Yeah.
not perfect, but
I really can't make any guarantees.
Because
Yeah.
If there's something you don't want on here, you say the word and I'll cut it out.
it's just how fast this truck is.
How is that? I mean, I've never seen a coil, you know, a cable spool that fast. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
whoa. I mean, normally they like wind up.
Well, the problem is they'll see the back of my truck. That's actually what I was worried about. It's such a mess.
Hey, it seems to be working for you.
I threw everything in. Just
So why do you like the Baker hydrants?
Baker hydrants. So the Baker hydrants, they have 1-inch fitting on the bottom, which makes me carry less parts. They're higher flow rate.
They have a higher flow rate. Huh?
Yeah.
Because of the 1 inch, you're not reducing down to 3/4.
Right.
And I can't count how many bushings I've had to buy for hydrants to make that transition.
That's right.
So what size of gauge of wire is that we're going to be using?
Number 10.
Number 10.
Number 10. Number 12 would do it, but it wouldn't do it if you upgraded. It will be 10 from here to the house. You use that wire winder? Like every day. Really? We just took ours off. So can I buy it from you? It's just unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I told the guy, I said, see your hired man over there? I'd fire him and use that. They use their helper. Make sure I didn't overlap this. And I didn't.
So in a given year, you might place 100 new pumps, but you'll service 3 times that many.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fixing old ones, pulling them up,
Well,
repairs.
100 would be a lot of the old. I mean, it wouldn't be new installs for sure.
Yeah.
So a couple years ago, I did 130.
Holy cow!
Um,
But as busy as things are now,
it's
or
looking
you-
pretty grim. Like I'm going to be facing that year again, and I'm not looking forward to it actually. You don't believe how stressful that is.
putting in 130 new pumps.
Yeah, just. That, I mean, I wouldn't have believed it, but I counted them up. I would have told someone they were blowing smoke if they'd have told me that.
I mean,
I would say.
that's basically doing this like 3 days a week.
So that is kind of a funny story. So I tell someone I don't schedule Mondays. How about Friday? I don't schedule Fridays. And they're like, so you work 3-day weeks? I said, times 2, 6 days. Well, what do you mean? I said, well, Mondays are catch-up days and Fridays are catch-up days. But that doesn't mean I'm not working.
Yeah, I'm not sitting at home on the
I'm
couch.
certainly working.
I'm just not scheduling work.
I'm still putting in probably 12 hours that day.
Yeah.
In the summer. Now, wintertime is a whole nother story. I'm looking for work. So this is the heat shrink kit splice. And the next question is how often do those fail?
All the time.
Almost never. I believe if I can, by memory, there's one. There might have been 2 in 13 years.
Really.
that I did, I don't think there's any. On this particular splice.
So tell me what the wires are. It's like you got positive, negative, ground, and then a controller wire?
No, on this pump you've got phase A, B, and C. It's a 3-phase pump.
Oh, that's right.
If I were to do this on a single phase pump, you're still using the same wire,
Yep.
albeit bigger. And you've got, let's see here. Run, start, and ground.
Run, start, and ground.
There's no neutral in a pump. Yellow is a phase conductor color, not white. White is neutral. The most common wiring mistake for a homeowner is to hook that to the neutral bar. They don't realize you need a control box. They order the pump. They set the pump. They grab the wires. They hook the two hots. They hook the ground. They took the neutral to the yellow.
And nothing works.
And the breakers pop. And they can't figure out what's going on. And YouTube that.
Let's just slip back here.
Try not to get in your way here.
So say it again. We've got start,
On this particular one, you've got phase A, B, and C, or
ABC,
and ground.
and ground.
That's all on this particular pump system because
Because it's 3-phase.
that's correct.
But a normal pump that's not on a 3-phase motor would be run.
Red is start. The other two are runs. So black, yellow, or run L1 and L2. And the yellow is a derivative on the start of the black. So they basically take the black, feed it to a 3-way switch, essentially, or a relay. And when the voltage comes back from the motor, it tells that voltage potential, the voltage potential is different. It switches over and runs on the run winding.
I gotta be totally honest with you. I don't know what you're talking about.
You knew enough there, I thought maybe.
I could get in the game on with colors, but it started as soon as you went to voltage. I'm like, oh, I'm out of my element. You got me.
Don't tell anybody, I don't either. That's just the way I understand it, right? That's how I would tell you it worked. There's a little glue that comes out the end of each one, so you can see. Lets you know that it gets glued in.
It's sealed up tight.
I don't even know what the pressure range is on this thing. I've never even heard of that. There's like a depth, but mine are at 700 feet.
And no issues.
None.
Never had any problems with it.
Nope. And these drives, this particular system is what I have. They are looking for issues like crazy. So,
When you say they, you mean the factory?
no, the drive is. The drive is always looking for faults, issues with wire, insulation.
Oh,
It's
not
always,
not the company that's
No,
building them. You're
no.
talking about the control
the
system.
control system. It's very, very much protecting that pump. It does not.
It's looking for any reason to turn that pump off and keep it from
protect
burning
it,
up.
Right. And so it's looking like, for instance, you might have a bad cable on a standard pump, and they want to upgrade to constant pressure, so we put one of these in there. And I told the guy, I said, on one job, I knew that. I said, it's possible if there's an issue, this thing's going to show it up right now. It was a matter of 2 weeks, and the thing wasn't working. So I said, just to get you by, we'll put your old system back on. You still got your big pressure tank installed, and we'll just throw it through a pressure switch and fire it up the other way. And ran fine for 2 months till we could dig it up and fix the wire.
Huh.
But the difference is these drives are taking your AC current.
When you say drive, what you're talking about
Is
is the
that
control, the mother brain in there.
Telling this pump what to do based on what that switch is telling it to do.
Right. On the needs of
Pressure.
water demand from the house.
In this particular case, pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that drive is basically a converter. It converts AC to DC because they want to switch it themselves. They, meaning the drive. The drive wants to